The news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
A 36-hour non-stop flight
18
by a
into 2.
small pack of B-2s. A lot of other aircraft were also involved, we know that. But let's talk about the B-2 flight itself. They took off from Missouri. 36 hours later, they landed back without once landing.
Yeah.
They delivered their bombs 18 hours later over Iran and then came back. How was this possible? Because the Department of Defense says at no point of time on this 36-hour journey was there any reason to believe that they were either detected or reacted to?
Well, they weren't detected, because if they were, then they'd be in some serious trouble. It's one of the most unbelievable missions, one of the most historic long-range strike missions. There were 7 B-2s, which by B-2 standards is a fair number of them. There was deception in the very beginning. There was a sense that some of them were flying west across the Pacific. In fact, they weren't. And even if a few planes were positioned in one area, they were not going to be flying the Pacific route.
That was
Of
the big
course,
distraction.
On social media said, you see the bombers, they're now flying west, so you know what's coming your way. But no, they flew them east across the Atlantic. There were 125 aircraft in total involved. Refuelers were involved at every stage. There were fighter aircraft which linked up 4th generation and 5th generation planes, 5th generation being stealth aircraft. And then after an 18-hour flight one way, right, they shortly before they struck their targets, which was primarily Fordo, using a remarkable weapon which we'll talk about called the GBU-57, 30,000-pound weapon.
Monster.
Before that took place, there were several land attack cruise missiles launched from American submarines and possibly destroyers as well. Possibly in the Persian Gulf. Submarines, they don't tell us a location that could be as far out.
The American
as
media says it was
Mediterranean.
one submarine called the USS Georgia.
So again, location, I'm not sure if that would be Persian Gulf, could be the Mediterranean, could be the North Indian Ocean as well. But this is what I found interesting. By the time those land attack cruise missiles, Tomahawks, actually struck their targets in Natanz and Esfahan, the American B-2s had already left. So in other words, they launched their missiles first, but by the time the missiles hit, they were the last to hit their impact points. But that's just the nature of the weapons, which are a bit slower than, the aircraft going in the B-2s and dropping their bombs and then getting out.
A
That's
question
one
that
part
I'm
of it.
often asked, Vishnu, is 125 aircraft were accompanying at various points of time. It's not like it was this big swarm of aircraft flying together, which people may be tempted to think when they hear the word 125 aircraft were involved. But tell me something. When the B-2s entered Iranian airspace or sensitive or contested airspace at any point of time, would the B-2s have been alone or would those 5th generation fighters have been with them?
The 5th generation fighters would have been with them, 4th generation fighters as well. And what we do know is that
Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. This is a show that gets you all the big stories that we are tracking from around the world, stories that matter to the global Indian. First up, as always, we start with the headlines. Showdown over Operation Sindoor intensifies. Opposition politicizing national security. That's the question. The government versus opposition showdown. Well, a debate in Lok Sabha likely to take place next week. 16 hours have been allocated for the Operation Sindoor debate. China begins construction of mega dam over Brahmaputra. Will India protest threat to its water security? Bangladesh Air Force jet crashes into college. 1 dead as made in China jet crashes in Dhaka. Prime Minister Modi to attend Maldives' 60th Independence Day. India's Maldives outreach is part of a major reset that has taken place in the New Delhi-Malé ties. And India's UPI becomes global leader in fast payments, says the IMF. India processes 80 billion UPI transactions monthly. Well, viewers, our top story on the show, monsoon session of Parliament started on a stormy note on day one. Protests erupted in both houses, demanding discussions on the Pahalgam terror attack that took place on the 22nd of April, took 26 Indian lives, and the Operation Sindoor that was launched by India subsequently. Opposition also questioned the government's foreign policy with reference to President Trump's repeated remarks that came in about what he says that he brokered the ceasefire, something that India has vehemently, repeatedly rejected. Prime Minister Modi also spoke ahead of the monsoon session. Now, there will be an important time that will be allocated for the discussion that will take place on the floor of the House, even as there was ruckus that happened today. And raising questions, raising slogans in the midst of what looked like, well, yet another session that is likely to see fireworks going forward. Now, viewers, time has been allocated for Operation Sindoor that will take place next week. Over 16 hours has been allocated, and that is likely to be the first statement that the government will make on the floor of the House on several key issues that the opposition is now asking more details on. I want to first play out some sound bites and then we come back and discuss the story in detail, including put out the big questions that we always do on India Global.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भारत की सेना ने जो लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया था 100% अचीव किया। आतंकियों के आकाओं के घर में जाकर के 22 मिनट के भीतर भीतर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के तहत उसको जमींदोज कर दिया गया।
पहलगाम हमला 22 अप्रैल को हुआ था। अब तक आतंकवादी पकड़े नहीं गए। मैं चाहता हूं कि उनके तरफ से हमको मालूमात मिलना चाहिए। जैसा कि पहलगाम हमला 22 अप्रैल को हुआ था, अब तक आतंकवादी पकड़े तो नहीं गए, लेकिन हुआ क्या? एक मिनट लेकिन J&K में कम से कम इंटेलिजेंस इनकी सिक्योरिटी है, उसके बारे में उनका फेल्योर हुआ, ये उन्होंने ही कहा है, लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने कहा है।
You heard the two sides, and more on this is likely to follow in the next coming days. I want to put out those big questions that we always do, and then we get in our guests also joining us on the show today. First up, is the opposition politicizing national security? The fact is, Operation Sindoor was an important event that took place after the terrorist attack. The fact that there's a lot of focus on intel failure around the Pahalgam terror attack indicates that is there an intent to politicize? Second question that we are asking, will the government reveal details, the specifics of those details of Operation Sindoor? Should that even be asked, given that there are genuine and very serious national security concerns at play? Third and final point that we are putting out, the Trump interference, something that India has vehemently rejected time and again. Every stakeholder in India has said that. But that interference claim that Trump is making is something that the opposition is likely to pick up even more. And will that really be one of the big factors adding to the fireworks in Parliament going forward? Let's put those questions to Manju Seth, who's joining us on the broadcast, former ambassador on the show. Ma'am, how do you see Operation Sindoor that will be taken up next week in Parliament, the politics around it, the fireworks that are likely to in fact intensify when the discussion actually takes place?
Yes, you're right. There will be fireworks on Operation Sindoor. We can expect that. That's the job of the opposition to hold the government to account, I think. So that will be there. And yes, I think, normally, if you look at all the other, at least to my knowledge, no country has really been, giving full details of their losses, I have not seen any details being released to the public about full losses and actual, problems or, what are the setbacks that were experienced during a conflict. I don't think any government, and as you very rightly said, it has national security implications. And so I don't think that all details of those kind which can impact the security and our overall national interest should be sort of made public. But yes, whatever is, the opposition's job is to ask questions, and whatever are the main issues, they should be discussed and shared with the government, by the government. But at the same time, as I said, it's not it's not the normal practice to share all details, all losses.
What do you think should be the specific areas that the government is likely to focus on? Because the opposition says three things. The opposition wants threadbare details on three things. It wants on the intel failure of Pahalgam terror attack. Then it wants to know what were the losses that took place during Operation Sindoor, if any there were. Then the third, it wants more clarity after repeated clarifications have already been given. It wants more clarity on the claims made by US President on what he thought and what he said is that US brokered ceasefire. What do you think will be the areas that the government will focus on? What do you think is the attempt of the entire exercise here from the opposition side?
I think they do want to put the government in a spot. It appears from all the way they are doing, and as I just said, all details which impact security will not be, I think, put on the table. But yes, other issues which are clear and which the opposition would like to know, I'm sure they will be all answered. And as far as I think President Trump's claims are concerned, I do feel that we don't know how much to trust and believe his speech, his statements, because if you look at his speeches and his sort of statements throughout, from the time he has taken on the second presidency for the second time, there have been a lot of back and forth. Saying something and then, reneging on it. So I think that needs to be also focused on.
Which brings me to ask you my final question, which is that the government has on several occasions said Operation Sindoor hasn't ended. It is still going on. That's been the statement by the Raksha Mantri in the past as well. In the backdrop of that very important factor, how do you think this entire issue should be approached going forward, in terms of the fact that the government says the operation is actually ongoing and hasn't ended?
Yes, I think till all perpetrators are brought to book, I think this operation will continue. And how it continues, I think that the government will decide. And they will, focus on, and yes, intelligence failure. The government had admitted indirectly that there was some intelligence failure at that point of time when the Pahalgam attacks took place. And one of the fallouts, I think, which is really unfortunate of all this, has been the rehyphenation of India, Pakistan in the global narrative, and especially by the US. And I think that is one of the areas that we need to work on, the government needs to work on, to ensure that the hyphenation does not continue. But I think we don't have much we cannot do very much about it, because I think the Trump administration, the US government, has decided that it is in their national interest to pursue this kind of narrative. And also, if you recall, President Trump has been talking about being the peacemaker, and that many people have nominated him for the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize. So I think that is also one of his intent, it appears,
Okay.
from all the statements that are coming out.
All right, let's leave it there. Thanks much for joining us on this edition of India Global. Turning focus now to the other important story on India Global. Amidst a crucial reset in ties, Prime Minister Modi is set to visit Maldives this week. This will be his first visit since President Monsoon came to power in November 2023. That caused a huge rift in ties. And let's tell you, in terms of what has been the impact, in terms of the outreach that has actually happened for the India-Maldives outreach that has taken place. Prime Minister Modi will be the guest of honor at the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the independence of Maldives on 26th of July. Now, this will be extremely important because this will mark a turnaround in the relationship, which started on a confrontational note. Earlier, Monsoon had asked India to withdraw Indian military personnel associated with the aviation platforms. That is the 2 choppers and an aircraft, and then he replaced that and he wanted that to be replaced. And Monsoon then, of course, visited India in October last year. The 2 sides moved forward to mend ties. Prime Minister Modi's visit will be aimed at taking this forward. Let's also not forget that Monsoon had originally and early on in his tenure shown a lot of propensity towards China, and that had really impacted the entire relationship. But when he came to India, India did offer large, significant financial assistance to Maldives, which helped the country to recover from its really financial dire straits that it was actually in. And let's tell you what is the specifics that happened there, and let's tell you that as well. Put that out, the India-Maldives outreach that we tell you in detail. Well, first and foremost, on July 2025 is when Prime Minister Modi will attend the 60th Independence Day celebrations as part of the outreach that will take place. Second, this is Prime Minister Modi's let's move ahead and tell you that this is Prime Minister Modi's first visit since the showdown that took place in 2024. Now, Maldives is a key country in India's neighborhood first policy. It is very strategically located in the entire Indo-Pacific, which is why it's being courted heavily by China as well. Monsoon had come to Delhi in October 2024, which is when a certain change in the entire relationship took place. India had extended significant financial aid amidst a reset, and there was also a time when Indian tourists had stopped going to Maldives, and that is something that changed with India making a very clear appeal that Indians must go back to to Maldives. Remember, Maldives relies very heavily on tourists, and tourist footfall from India form a very large chunk of its economy. So this will be an important visit, viewers, that we're going to keep a very close watch on. I'm going to slip into a very short break on India Global, come back on the other side, talk more about the world's biggest dam that China is building and how it impacts India and India's water security. We come back and talk on that. Stay with us.
I started this brand because I started being told no to my dreams.
So I didn't have any design experience. I didn't have any business experience, but I really had a sort of belief.
Running a business is really challenging, but I love it. This is so wild that I actually, from a dream, started a business. We're Cheekbone Beauty. This is Super Ceramics.
We're finished that.
We're Eastside Golf, and we're powered by Shopify.
Magic family moments deserve the perfect setting. A stylish awning from House is the ideal addition to your outdoor space. Available in a range of colours and finishes, and with the option of integrated lighting and heating, you can enjoy your outdoor space for even longer. Now that is magic. House awnings, made for life.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
I'm in. Okay, now, you can have a great first day. I promise, all right? Give me that.
Your donations helped 3D print his heart to guide his surgery and saved his life with a groundbreaking innovation. And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. Help us turn science fiction into reality and save more lives like hers. Donate to the British Heart Foundation now.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4474 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Well, viewers, we are now turning attention to what could be an extremely important aspect of water security for India and to